It's in the back of my head.
Me too. I haven't looked into to like rendering video and or rather streaming video and how to integrate that into an app.
Yeah.
But it is
The
possible. It's something
yeah.
that can be learned.
The uh the problem is the barrier to entry on that project is so high in just
Pure technical knowledge.
um sorry, I just had the video playing back through my head and I couldn't tell if you were talking to me or not. That was really confusing.
Oh, yeah.
Uh
I know
I'm
exactly what
I'm
you mean.
looking at the other streams. The technical overhead is so high in just like the things that we would want to go and study and get really good at before venturing out into that world. Like it's that would be a huge time sink. But I can only imagine if we were even like partly successful, we would come out of it just like much better developers.
I think so too, and perhaps specialized into a niche that really appeals to both of us.
you know,
Working with sound more widely, but perhaps even music more
you know.
specifically.
We are live now, by the way. Um,
Hello, everyone.
greetings, greetings and salutations, everyone out there. Um, in Courtney reposted my event, and he called all of you upskillers and chillers. And I was thinking about that. I was like, yeah, we need a name for our fans. And I was messing around with it, upskillers and chillers, or upskill chillers, or
Up chillers?
chill upskillers,
Uh,
or I like some combination thereof that I think would be kind of catchy and fun, and we could get T-shirts made, and like
I love it.
I'm a chill upskiller or something like that. Like we could actually
What
get
you
like a
all watching right now is how we transition from tech into the garment industry.
yes, yes,
This
yes.
is the beginning.
Hey, as an entrepreneur, you gotta spread wide net, right? You gotta have
That's
your
right.
your stuff. We could actually get like a proper logo instead of just something I pulled off of Canva's library.
We learn to sell T-shirts. We'll learn to sell ourselves. The universe will be whole.
Oh man, yeah, we have a thriving merchandise and streaming business before we ever get hired as developers.
Supporting our dreams of becoming developers.
Yeah, by like cosplaying as developers once a week on stream.
I love it.
Oh boy. Okay. Yeah, we're right on time or so, but yeah, Courtney and I were just having a good chat off stream, so that's why we weren't early live and all that. Uh, yeah. So update a little bit. I'll start, but um, I'm just about ourselves. Sorry, I'm like buffering in my brain all of a sudden for some reason. Just in the reference to job searching, we were just chatting about job searching stuff. I've got a couple of potential things hanging out there within the last like 24 hours. I got a couple of contacts that are um, they have things, and a couple of them maybe look fairly promising. So more update on that as moving forward. That's the extent of my updates.
Yeah, my update is, as many of you have seen on my post, I was knocked out of it's technically the second round, but after three interviews. Yeah, boo. It's okay.
Boo.
It happens. What they don't know is they missed out on the bargain of a century. I'm gonna be like Nvidia stock someday. Be like, man, why didn't I invest in Courtney? No, it's okay. I felt really bad about the first round interview, and I made it to the second round. I felt really good about that round, and didn't make it to the third. I don't know if there's a message for me in there, but
Hmm.
I still feel really good about that second interview. Again, we've spoken about it here, but having this stream, it's made me quite a bit more comfortable talking about code and technology out loud, not only in a way that engineers can understand, but at least in somewhat more colloquial sense, so that I can communicate effectively. One thing I'll mention is right around when I felt bad about that first interview, I posted on my Instagram just saying, had a bad interview, didn't feel great about it. And people came out of the woodwork to talk to me about it. People that I haven't talked with from all walks of life that I've just known over the years. And a few of those people happen to work in tech in various capacities. One is a great conga player that I know, and he's also a developer. Another is a
Nice.
dancer who's a UX designer, and they both had varying levels of advice and things to offer. But one of them referred me to a position at their job. I haven't heard back from that yet, but I guess I bring this up to say I think I've had a lot more success personally from talking to people in my real life, not in the matrix that is LinkedIn and online and all that. You know, we all have some number of these people, and you might have a limited amount. I certainly do. Not everybody I know works in tech, but it's been super helpful talking to people that I know that all of a sudden end up being a UX designer at Quora or a developer here or there. Because I feel much more connected to these people for different reasons, but they also seem to want to help a lot more. I think when we get advice about networking on LinkedIn, it's kind of like you're trying to develop that kind of relationship, right? Where it's not like, "Have I got a deal for you? I'm looking for a job and you can help me," but instead, like you have an investment in each other, and then they want to help, and that's really nice. So I recommend talking to people in out in the wilderness about this stuff, even when it feels a little weird.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's solid.
It's my
This
sermon for
last
the day.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, just to reinforce that point, this last Monday, I went the first time to a job transition support group here in town that I
Mm.
found, um, and everybody there was super supportive. And a few people, like, they weren't necessarily in tech, but they had either contacts in tech or contacts as musicians that maybe they'd be willing to, like, do something like. So there were like, I was there the first time. I'd never met any of these people before. And just like, you're in person and everybody there is, going through some sort of a job transition or another. And they're all very, like, happy to help each other where they could. Um, so I think, again, in person, being a real human with other humans who, are working through the same thing, it brings a camaraderie that you don't get just throwing around random connection requests on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I think people legitimately want to help too. But a lot of people, especially just like if we're talking about the specific lane that is like LinkedIn messaging, a lot of people in a position to help get overwhelmed by the number of people that reach out to them. And even if they wanted to help every single person, there's only so much time in the day. So, um,
Yeah, absolutely.
talk to your people.
Yeah. Yep. All right, cool. So, that's our inspiration for the day. Do you have any music? I didn't pick out any music this time. My week has been not so a little bit.
Yeah, I actually had something.
Awesome.
I have a friend I used to play with. He's a trumpet player, and he's moved all around the U.S. He used to work not in a tech job, but in the tech industry for many years, and recently, meaning 2 years ago, he gave up his job at Amazon and moved to New York, and has been pursuing work as a jazz trumpet player, and he's a really good player.
Wow.
He released an album earlier this year called Evergreen, and his name is June Ida. And I'll go ahead and post here the opening track, which is called Gooey Butter Cake, which I think is a reference to a dessert from part of where he grew up in St. Louis. Where do I post this? I guess on the LinkedIn comments. I'll post it in
Yeah.
our event page.
Yeah.
But excellent album if you like jazz, and it's it is a lot of like swinging stuff, but it's also some more forward pushing kind of music and things that are maybe a bit more in step with what people recognize in their own music tastes. But he's a great guy and a hell of a player, so I definitely recommend.
I will need to give that a listen for sure. Jazz has always been something where, uh, just any jazz isn't necessarily something that I can listen to, but I have a select few albums that they are just, whatever it is, they are just good. So I enjoy finding new jazz listening that is interesting and unique to some degree.
Yes, there can be a lot of freedom in that form.
hmm One
Good
might
lessons for all
say
musicians.
ultimate freedom. I mean,
One
jazz
might
is
say
like
one.
Jazz is just an open canvas for whatever you want to do, for for better or worse.
That's right. That's right.
There's a lot of canvases out there covered in stuff where I go, I guess that's jazz.
Put you in the Jackson Pollock section.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, yeah, I don't have any music today that that I'm currently thinking of. Haven't been listening to a lot of music this week actually. I've been otherwise occupied, but cool. Well, let's get moving forward.
Let's do it.
So, Courtney, I shared a list of ideas. Again, I also did not get a chance to do like any prep or much prep at all for this. Kind of winging it today. So
Right?
Courtney, we can either choose one off the list that we feel like, or I went ahead and I
Oh, I
made
love
a
this. I
little
love this.
spinner, and I thought that maybe that would just make it easier. Should we?
Did
Do
you
you
make
want
this
to?
whole thing?
No, I didn't make
I'm
this
sorry.
up. No, 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 no,
I
no.
was gonna say, geez, burying the lead right now. Hire this
In
guy.
spare time, I just whipped up this little thing. No big deal.
No, okay. Yeah, I love this idea. This is so much better than making a decision. They're all equally important.
Yes. Okay, cool. Well, let's. I wish we had some like Price is Right music or something going on here.
Oh, this is excellent.
Let's see. What are we gonna do? Oh, we're gonna style some form inputs.
Okay, let's go.
There's like, there's like music and like hooray. Uh, cool. Okay.
Oh, I didn't hear the music. I don't know
Oh,
if you're
maybe it was
sharing.
just like a little bit of like da 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 da, like just
Uh,
successful little tone. All right, very good. So, do you want to take the first crack at it? Do you want me to take the first crack at it? I'm okay, whichever way we want to go.
you've already got the screen. Why don't you go ahead and take the first crack?
Okay. Uh, so let me actually put this over here, and we'll clear out of that. And let me get my windows all set up here. Okay. So, styling the form inputs. We're talking about these suckers right here. And then the thing
Mhm.
is, this guy is going to be an extra thing because styling a drop down like this, there are limited options that you actually have if you want to style the inbuilt select item
That's
component
right.
inside of HTML. And in the past, I have built one of these from scratch,
Right.
and it's
That's the only
cool.
way to fully
Yes,
style it and customize, right?
and
Yeah.
yes, and that is quite a job. There's a lot that goes into that. It's really sweet. It's really cool. Learned a lot. Maybe we'll do it again here, or maybe we'll. I mean, we could always bring in a UI library, but that kind of defeats the purpose. I don't know.
Now the behavior or the styling that's default to the select component, is that defined by the browser? Let's see. Looks
What do you mean by the
here.
like? So, what do you mean by the defaults?
Are
Like,
there different yeah, like click on the select component,
mhm.
bring the drop down out. Oh, or maybe it's actually by the operating system. So one thing I'm noticing is mine
Okay,
mine brings up the same list, but it's rounded on the edges for one, and it is not connected directly below
okay.
the top option, and there's no arrow. Also, actually, is there an arrow? No, there is an arrow. Sorry, you just can't see it. So mine, okay, I'm on iOS, and Spencer's on Windows.
Okay.
So I think it is the operating system you're on defines how like kind of some of the parameters on how that's going to look. So I don't think you can change a lot of these things like rounding
That
the edges,
that now
default.
makes sense as to why it's so like it's impossible to change. I mean, you can change some of the
Yeah,
colors, you can round the corners, you can
yeah,
change border, you can change like padding and stuff, but it's always gonna look like this element with a little bit of lipstick on.
yeah.
That's as good as you can get.
That's
Um,
right.
so yeah, maybe we'll venture into the idea of building one out. That would be a couple of episodes, but it's a fun experience. I really enjoyed the one that I did. Um,
Maybe yeah, you want to add that to the list? We can make it low priority. I think that would be
Sure.
good. I think it's maybe and if there's anybody here that has done this professionally, they can let me know. But I imagine that most places would create their own custom one or use one from a library to ensure consistency among different devices. That'd be my guess, at least.
Yeah. Yep. That makes a lot of sense. Um, or here, let's go custom select component. We'll call it that, and then make a custom. Uh, I guess I'm repeating myself, but I don't know.
That'll do.
It's fine. Let's watch our app work. Maybe. Bing. There we go. We need some loading state.
That was one of the things on your list, right?
Yeah, loading state and also styling up these things because obviously the stack is getting ridiculous, and there's two lines here that we can completely eliminate from the height of these elements. But that's not what we're doing. We're going to be tackling these guys to make them look a little bit prettier. Okay, so how to go about doing that then? We don't need that tab. We're going to be actually we might need that as like a template because we're going to be tackling these guys. And
So is this? Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead. What's
I
your
was going
question?
to ask, does this entail building essentially a custom input that will have ensure consistent styling across our inputs?
I was thinking if we're going to do this, then we should turn this into a component.
Love it. I
Yep.
love it.
Because we
You can
have
include the
full.
label in there and everything.
And now here a little bit more planning here, a little more discussion. So, these two technically are the same thing right now. In my
Okay.
mind, I've been thinking about this description. Eventually, we would change it to more of a text box instead of a
Okay.
text input.
Hmm.
Because that's usually how these things work, right? You're going to have a box, and then the text will spread down in the box instead of constantly going to the side, like it does in the input, right? Like this just keeps going this way off the side here, um,
Mm.
instead of like having a multi-line box, which is what most people are used to when you're putting a description on something, right?
Right.
Um, so I was going to say, yeah, we should turn this into a component because we use it twice, but actually we're only going to use it once, at least at the moment for this thing. But we should still component. We should still make it a
So
component.
I did this recently, actually, and I don't know if this is advisable, but I built a custom input that, depending on the prompts that you pass, would render as either an input, a text area, or a select component, because they all share a lot of data in common.
Hmm.
Um, Probably the select the least, but um, but specifically the input in the text
Yep.
in the text area, is that what it's called? Text box? I forgot which one.
Yeah, I
Um,
think it is text area. I think you're right. I was calling it a text box, but I think I'm incorrect.
oh, okay. Yeah, they share a lot in common. You know, it's going to be a lot of the same things. We'll probably apply the same styling, assigning a value to it. All the same props pretty much. So might be worth just rendering one or the other depending on what props we pass.
Yeah, I think that's and yes, text area, just like this. This is what I'm talking about, right?
Oh
This
yeah,
is what
there
you
you
would
go.
expect from a description. Um, yes, that is absolutely an option, and we can totally do that. I think that'd be fine. We can make a text component, and then you can pass in a prop of either like we could say like input or box or text. Yeah, whatever you want to say, however you want to
Yeah,
do
yeah.
it. So well, I need to reopen the actually here if I can let me that was the task. Why is my search so bad at finding this file? Um, so let's see. This is our
So you're looking at the task right now in the
yeah,
components to
and
do folder. Okay.
yep. I was just gonna take this as a template, just so I don't have to retype all of it.
Totally.
And let's see. So source app components to do, and what do we want to call this sucker? Like text input or input or
You just call it input. Makes
okay.
sense to me. Capital I.
Now other inputs. I mean, other inputs include stuff like checkboxes, and stuff of that nature. And
That's right. That's
I
right.
would rather have, if we were to go. I mean, we are going to need a checkbox. Because that's how we're gonna select our our tasks to being completed, right?
Hmm.
So instead of broad input, I like the idea of saying text input because we're specifically doing text, and then we could have a checkbox input or even just checkbox. We can have an email input if we want to do an email one eventually. That could be separate, right?
Hmm.
So I'm just thinking about like making the name more specific.
Okay, that's fine. Text input sounds good.
Okay. And then I'll put this in here. We don't need the priority map for this. We might need, well, we will need an interface, but this will be like text input props. Just kind of thinking text input and text input. And then, oops. And then this is our props and our destructured stuff. We might, I don't know if we're going to need all of this the way it is. So we'll just trim all that out of there for now. Okay. So then this is where our return is just going to go away. And then we can grab, here we have, yeah, and then each of these is inside their own div. We discussed that before so that we can control them
Hmm.
independently.
Makes sense.
Okay. So then, yeah, so let's see. What are the
Props, right?
props we're going to have on this? I mean, we're going to have like a label.
That's
We
right.
want to call it label, right?
You could even call it name, maybe. Some
Name
of
is
this
a
will
reserved
be
word
um, right, but I don't think we'll be interfering with that.
with this.
Am I wrong?
I think you're probably correct.
Okay. Um, well, let's think. What do we actually want to pass down? Because we're going to want to be able to,
Well, we can
um,
see it all right here, right?
yeah,
So I do think we still want label because the label is going to be like what is actually on the label versus the name of the input.
that's right. That's
This
right. They
what
might not
this
be the same. Also, I've run into this problem. If I tried to use name and label as the same thing, but this completely falls apart if you have like um, a two-word name, like password confirm, for instance.
mm,
You're not going to have it in camel case inside your label, but you kind of need it camel case elsewhere. So
yeah.
it's smart to keep those separate.
So I'm saying input name here to be more specific.
Okay.
If you think that's, I don't know if that is
Is there a reason for us to have a separate name and ID? Can those always be the same?
probably. I would say
So
that
two.
those could probably be the same. They're the same
Yeah.
here. Let's see. They are. Let's see. Name ID. Yeah. I don't
They'll
see
always
why.
be unique, right?
Yes.
On a page, I mean.
Yep.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay. And then value. What's value going to be?
and then
I
or
guess it's going to be
um,
a string, right?
and this is the HTML4. Let's see. HTML4 and HTML4. So the HTML4, the name and the ID all match. Um.
Yes, right.
So
So you can
what
pass the
name?
same thing.
Yeah. So what name do we want to give it in the props to kind of, is input name good enough? And we'll just spread that. We'll just put those in those three spots.
I think so. It makes sense to me at least.
Okay. Value will also be a string. Should that be default value or
Um,
just value?
so this
Because
this
it's,
depends on how we want these to work. What are they right now? They're just value right now, right?
yeah, it's just, this is just value. And then it's bringing in the task name.
Do we need placeholder? We never set that up on the original
We
components.
did not. You're correct. We could do placeholder. We could add that now. Placeholder. Um, we also could do class name. see, is class name reserved? Can we name it class name? I'm thinking about the idea of being able to pass in additional classes. Um, if you want
Oh,
to
I see.
do like, if you want to override some styles,
You could call it style, maybe.
uh,
Is that easier? Because it's
styles,
or no, styles reserved also though, maybe.
is it?
Styles. Oh, I like that. Pluralize it.
I don't know. String.
Do we need a type also? So we can be explicit about what fits inside of each of these?
Yeah. So input type. Uh, or just type. You're talking about like this would be like input or text area or whatever.
Oh, I guess I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so we both need a prop that'll need to either be input or text area, and then we need if it is actually does text area have different types on it? Let me see.
I have it right here. I think it's just text area, but then it does have
Okay,
rows and columns. So do we want to make that controllable from the outside as well? Or we could do something where it's like small, medium, large, and then we have numbers already pre-selected for those.
we could even if you wanted to be granular, we could just call it like length and height and width, and then you could pass. I mean, yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure out how we want to set up the classes.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I suppose maybe input type makes sense for like either input or text area, and then because then type is also like on an input, it can be like an email, a password, text, or so
Right.
on, right?
I think, and that's what we're going to control here with input type is like this is just gonna we could make this like a union. We could say that it is either text or
Oh yeah, good call.
um, area or
Email.
text box.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I'm saying this is only handling the two. We have two types here. Two text. We can either do
Mm,
text or text area, right? Or text box. Do we want to call it, or do we want to keep it text area?
text area is fine.
Okay, so
That makes
text
sense.
or text area. We're explicitly stating that those are the only two acceptable options.
Okay. But then also there's like the type that we might want to fill in as well. For even if it is an input, uh,
So down here, right?
text,
There's
password. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
type, and I think that's going to be so there's let's go to our let's see. So text area is its own thing.
Yeah.
I don't think does text area have type? It doesn't have type as an attribute. And then we go to uh,
Oh, there's so many.
input. These are the different. Oh, you can do a text box. What? Oh, I don't know. Button. Oh, these are all the inputs. Yeah. So, checkbox.
Yeah.
Sorry, I totally misread that. Wow, I need glasses. Button, checkbox, color select, date select, date time, email. We're not doing email. In my mind, that would be a separate component just to keep things separated. File, hidden image, month, number, password, radio, range, reset, search, submit, telephone. So
Wait.
text.
Why does email need to be different?
Um, I guess it doesn't have to be.
Hmm.
In my, I guess in my mind, I like the idea of separating that off as its own component, just because it's a
Hmm.
slightly different thing. It's not just text input, right? It is
Yeah,
just text input, but
you need to validate it separately in a
yeah,
different way.
yeah, it would help to keep the text input a little bit our text input component a little more lean as well.
Hmm. Hmm.
I don't know. I could see it going either way.
Because one thing you could do is like you could still address email like in this type thing, but you could just set a default to being whatever we think the most used version of input would be, which is probably text.
Yeah.
Um, And then, so you don't even have to pass that unless you want it to be something besides text.
Right. Yeah. Setting up the defaults will be part of it for sure. So yeah, type is here, and then those are all that's the attribute, and then those are all the different options we just went through.
Okay. So you can actually make a button input? I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Huh. Learn something new every day.
Yeah. I wonder if it behaves the same, or if it is different somehow. If different parts of it. I don't know.
I'll look into that real quick while you're studying this
So
out.
and then we also want our on change handler, or on change callback. Do we want to call it that? Which is going to be, this is going to be a function. Is that going to return void?
What does our current handle change do?
Yeah, that's a. Let's see. I don't think it returns
Yeah,
anything. It
yeah,
just does the stuff. So yep, the handle change, at least as of right now, it's gonna be a function that returns void. Um, Input type, text area, so text or text area. Additional styles is optional. I mean, placeholder is optional.
that's right.
We need an input name, a
You
label.
need a label, yeah.
You want the value. This needs to be there. A callback needs to be present, otherwise it's not going to do anything.
Input type could also be optional though, because we'll maybe default to text.
That's a good point. Yep, wasn't thinking about the defaults. Yep. Yeah.
That way, yeah, I favor, like you. I kind of favor having a lean. Like when I finally put this input in places, instead of like having to actually write out each each property.
Yeah. Um, okay, so at least for the initial thing here, then this would be the label.
Mm-hmm. Did you mean Babel? No, I didn't
Hmm,
mean Babel. Oh, we haven't passed it into the actual function yet.
yeah. Yep.
Is there like there must be some kind of tool or library that you could take like an interface and just automatically spread it correctly into props. And if that
Hmm.
doesn't exist, I should make that and become rich that way with my open source technology.
Okay. And then here, this is the text input. Oops. No, stop. Don't do that. What are you doing? Crazy computer. Text input props.
There we go.
Yeah. Okay. So we have our props. We have the everything up there. And then now it's going to take the label. Yep. And then so here, oops, not that. We want this is going to be our input name, and that is going to be the same here and here. Oops, don't know why that happened. Okay. Value is going to be value, and then here. Okay, so we've got. Let's see.
The
We
little
need.
string interpolation, right? We'll have like
Yeah.
a default style, and then yeah.
So there's going to be. Let's see. How do we want to? Which way do we want to go? We want our. So I'm thinking you could either have it. You could either have the style. You want to add the styles to what we have as the defaults. So here, then we're going to do a ternary, right? So it's like if styles exists, then we want to add it to. Or
Or could you?
if not styles, we do what we have, and then else if styles, Okay, do we need to export our preferred styles in here out to a variable?
Um, how do you mean? You mean like build it above the return and then
Yeah.
just enter it here. Yeah. Well, are there any pieces that we want to be default, like that we would never want to change? I guess that's not true. We'd always want to be able to potentially adjust this.
Yes. I'm trying to think about. I would love to see this pattern done by like what actual best practice is, because I'm remembering
Mm,
back to when I was doing this sort of thing for the components I built with for Candide,
mm,
and I had because I built some of these components that had you could put in like a one text one word option into a prop and it would totally change style sets, and it was like objects with strings. I think if I remember, it's been a while. Strings of styles, and then depending on what value you passed in, it would select that different string inside of the object and put it here in the styles, right?
hmm hmm
Um, so it'd be like the dark one or the light one or the primary or
I
secondary.
see.
Um, but I'm also now
Uh,
what I'm
I
thinking in my
see.
head right now is that I believe at Nebulae we have some components and there are style overrides available. Um, and it works this way where you have like an optional styles input. I mean, maybe instead of sitting here pontificating, we should actually
Good call.
uh, what dynamic custom? What would be the word? Um, uh, Default and no. Uh, Now my head is spinning and I'm thinking about all the wrong stuff. Trying to think about how to search that. Um, React component with default
Default styling.
default overriding default styles, something like that. But that's going to be talking about like actually the styled component format. Writing styles, styled components. Okay, so I mean that's how you set default styles. Material I over SX prop.
Hmm.
I don't know. Is this how to set default styles? Yeah, CSS and JS. You can do that kind of stuff. But here, so this is okay. No, that's color. CSS and JS. You got heading styles. Okay, so you can do the JS thing, the CSS and JS. React component, and then you set styles, background color, styles, background color, color, styles, color. That's not exactly what I was thinking.
Hmm.
Especially since we're not doing CSS and JS, we're trying to do with Tailwind, and the problem is that like if you have a string of Tailwind classes and somewhere in there you have like text color blue, and you want to override that to be text color green, um, just throwing the text color green string into the string of styles, it doesn't really like in CSS. If it was below it, it would override it, right? Because it's red later.
Oh, I see. I see.
It would override your default. But maybe a better overriding default styles with Tailwind. That's not specific enough, probably. Um, Yeah, because design
Right,
system.
because they're trying to take you towards like
Yeah,
overriding
the
Tailwind
the
styles.
tailwind. Yeah. Um, default tailwind styles in React component. Oh, look at that. Is that here overriding tailwind classes? Maybe that one too. Design systems. Let's check out these two. Uh, so button, React, design system, styling tool. So yeah, you've got class name. Yep, you got a whole bunch of styles in there, and then you got props. That might be part of what I'm looking for. Great. So using the button anywhere project. Let's use class name. We want to change the blue. Yeah. Button.
Hmm.
So show me text class name down here. Renders. Yep. And then there's the black. You got text white, text black. Black is after blue. It should take precedence. However, this is not true. Yep. The order in which the class names appear in the class attribute HTML does not matter. Yep. Because it's not CSS. It's just it matters the order it is in the Tailwind style sheets. I'm pretty sure. So that all holds true. I was correct about that. Package. Oh, don't tell me to use a package.
Ah, don't you hate it when you get that this far and
Oh
they're
my
like, what we
gosh.
want
Like,
you to do is use.
yeah, Tailwind merge. Oh my gosh. No, that's not what I want. Um, okay, go
But
away.
they were addressing the same problem that you're bringing up.
Yeah. The problem, imagine you, yes, yes. So class name. Yep. Add it. Okay, so here's the idea here too. Instead of doing styles, we can just do class name on our component because that's and then
Right.
that'll be the prop and then the nice thing about that is that we don't have to go like styles whatever. You can just like spread the rest of the props, right?
Hmm.
And it'll just already be in the right format. So that's something we could probably change. Doing that. Yeah, okay.
Well, maybe that's the way to
Uh,
go for now, at least. Really, the
non-tail.
only reason I was thinking that we would even need um, like a default or something special for our styles is if there was like some kind of format that we always apply, no matter what. But if we really want it to be fully flexible, I think the solution is really just passing down the actual classes like we normally do.
Yeah. So for now, we'll just leave styles alone and um, I think. Oops. Um, that'll maybe be something we have to come back. We have to come back to is figure out how to do like some sort of like a custom, like an
Hmm.
override, updated styles, class name, something or other. But and then type here was going to be our input. Oops. Type
No,
handle.
this wouldn't this be a different kind of type? Because we can't turn
Mm.
it into a text area from here. I don't think.
So this can be the type of the input. So it'll either be text or text area, right? Am I looking at that wrong?
Does that
So
is that a
the type
possibility here? I don't
the
know.
type is text or see now is the text area an option? Is the no? You're right. You're right because text area is a different component. So um,
But we do need a separate type so that we can, at the very least, do probably like text or password would be
right.
my best guess.
So input type, just for simplicity's sake, we're leaving it as it is here, text or text area. That's the thing that will
Yeah.
be passed in. And
Right.
then what that's going to do is, um, I think it would be here. We're going to be doing input type text. Um, Wait. So I'm trying to do, like, we have to return a different component based on that selection.
Yeah.
Um, uh, so
So
for the
if
moment, it would be like, uh,
it's like if input type equals strictly equal to text
okay,
area.
yeah, we can do we can just do a. No, I can't do an if statement here, can I?
No,
Uh,
no. I mean, you don't need to do if. In the ternary like you were doing,
yeah.
you just put input type triple equal sign text area, the string text area.
Oh yeah. Uh,
Then your question mark, and then here we would build the text area component. Otherwise, it's going to be the input we already have.
right. Which is so. Man, yeah. Is this right?
Yeah, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Handle change callback. Oh, not handle change
Oh,
callback. It's on change callback. There we go. Okay. I guess we also have placeholder. Oops. Placeholder. And styles is going to be a different thing. So
and we still need to add an input. I mean, a property for type. Just like on the actual input component, we need to tell. Well, we don't. I guess it defaults itself to text, but we might want to control that.
well, I'm looking at this as like, okay, we have the type here on the input. It's going to be the input type that's passed in. Um, if we render this component, then that means this is text, right?
Um, but what might we want it to be password or something like that, so that it hides the text? Because that's where you would determine that behavior.
Right. And I guess for simplicity's sake, I'm not worrying about the password thing at the moment.
Okay.
I
I
was just
guess
kind of
you could also pass you could also on input type, you could just add password as one of the strings. It'll
yeah, yeah,
default to text
yeah. I
and
mean, we could
otherwise
add password. We could add
because if we
uh,
pass password, it's not going to create a text area.
right. We could pass
Yeah, I
password. We
like
could
that.
pass email. You know, we could
That's
put
cleaner.
any number of options in there, and then eat. We might actually just want to make this a function that we call instead, and pass in, like, instead of having to do a ternary, or like, this works between two options, but the ternary is going to break down as soon as we're trying to have four options inside of here.
Mm. Hmm.
So then we would
Well,
want,
no, it's actually like you say though, right? If we pass, unless we're going to include a different kind of input, meaning input text area, select, or checkbox. If we're going to include one of those types into this component, then yeah. But otherwise, I think this actually works exactly the way you're saying. Like as long as it's not text area, it's going to
oh,
render an input, and then we can the type will be the type that we
okay,
passed.
yeah, yeah, you're right. So I was a genius the whole time. I just wasn't
You
seeing
were the whole time.
I just wasn't seeing my own genius here. Yeah, text area is the outlier, so we check for that. Otherwise, it just becomes the whatever it is.
Yeah, that's clean. I like that.
Okay. Yep. I would have got there eventually. Um, so then here we still need pretty much, at least for the moment. Uh, yeah, we'll just take all of that. Oh,
I forgot the end.
oh, how did? Okay, so it really didn't. Okay, whatever. Fine. Placeholder. This will
We
type.
don't even need a type, right? I don't think does it have a type?
Yeah, you're probably right. Yep, it'll just be a text area.
Let's see. Okay.
On change, class, value, ID, name, all that stuff will just be um, the same.
I also noticed you used text area as a like you did the you called it with the slash at the end. Uh like in the actual return statement, as
Yeah, yeah.
opposed I see it used a lot where it's actually built like other components where there's like the opening tag, closing tag, but it behaves differently, I noticed. And it does not work with value the same way
Oh,
if you call the opening closing tags. If
oh,
you do
interesting.
it like you call input, it'll work the same way that we're setting it up right now. Something
Okay.
to note.
This is input actually. Let's go back to the text area. So there was also that thing of rows and columns, and maybe we just set that as default for ourselves.
Yeah, for now at
Rows
least.
calls. Was it rows calls? Yes,
Yeah.
rows calls. Um, I don't know. 8 and 15. I have no idea. Um, I would like to just get this to a point where we can bring this in
Yeah, I
and
feel
check
that.
it out. I think we're at that point now.
Well, we have to probably set some defaults, or I think TypeScript might get mad.
Can we do input
Um,
type here as default? Can we
Text.
set a
Yeah.
default that way, right? Inside that.
Hmm.
Yep, that'll be the default. Um,
Name placeholder, I guess, will be empty string default.
yeah. Um, some of these just also probably just won't have necessarily they're not all going to have defaults either.
Yeah, no.
Yep.
I guess
We have
styles
yeah
is whatever.
styles. I'm just gonna do that for the moment.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um, and then yeah, with the rows and calls, we could put the default in the props like that, or we can have defaults. Yeah, we'll figure that out. So I think let's check this out. Let's check this sucker out. So let's just come in here and we'll make a new div to put it in, and then we will bring in text input. Yep. So we need input name, and I guess we'll do task name,
Hmm.
and then we also need label, which will be task. Oops. And what else do we need here? Value, which is our task name,
Hmm.
and oops, that's not what I wanted to do. No, don't do that. There we go. Still looking for, see, on change.
Oh,
On
the on
change
change.
is
Yeah.
missing. Okay, so on change callback is going to be, was it
Handle change, I think. Yeah.
handle change?
Oh, we need to type the parameters of on change callback. We didn't type
Yeah,
the event.
yeah. So this line is what we're going to need, yeah?
I think so.
Yep. Um,
I have to get used to doing that more. It's so smart to just copy that since that's exactly what it is.
cannot find name change event.
Oh,
Yeah,
we have to import
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oops. Import that.
It's not assignable. Oh, and then we have to now include text area element in that list of elements. Right now, we're only typing this for change events from input and select.
Oh, good catch. Yes.
And I guess we'll have to do that on the first page as well.
Okay. Hopefully that doesn't screw anything up. Yeah, I mean, seriously, it could. I mean, we had that beautifully set, and I would hate to have that get rocked. suddenly because we're trying to do something over here. But okay, so that, and then input type, let's see, this one we can leave default to text because this is our
That's right.
task, right? Let's just go and take a peek. Oops. Yeah, it is here. It's just here. Hey, look at that. And it should be this one.
Does
And
I guess it doesn't matter, but I think you doubled up on the divs also, maybe for this input, because they're
oh yeah,
already surrounded by
look at that.
divs, right?
Look at that two-way binding. I changed it here, and it changes it in
Ah,
here
yeah.
too.
Oh, it
It's
changes in both.
yeah, I changed it in both. It's doubled up. Yes, yeah. I didn't want to like eliminate this one. So I just
Hmm.
I made it a total copy.
Oh,
I
I see.
want it. I much prefer to work with I want to keep things in place until I know everything's working, and then I'll take stuff out. So then
Gotcha.
here,
Okay.
input type, we can make, and see, look at that. We get our nice
Thank you, TypeScript.
text area. I don't think there's nothing else that we need there, so that should.
Well,
Hey,
we need to assign different values, though, right?
yes.
Description, I think.
Description, label, description. Yeah. Input name, description, label, description, task description, description,
Wait, that's
description.
right. Oh,
All
wait.
right. Huh? Oh,
Didn't like something. Unstring undefined.
okay. So that's
When is it undefined?
uh,
Isn't the default a empty string, which is not undefined?
okay. So I think, is that the thing where we go here? Yep.
Oh, I'm just curious why it wants that though.
Yeah, and it didn't
When would
want it
it?
before.
When would it ever be empty?
I'm not sure. And maybe it's a
Hmm.
text area thing because like this input
Oh,
didn't require us to do that.
that's right. That's right. Huh. Well, whatever. It
Right.
worked.
So now we can put stuff here, and it will wrap onto the next line.
Yay!
That's much more. That's much more of what I would.
Exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay. Cool. So then that's where I feel comfortable actually wiping these guys now. And I mean that.
Wait, what I meant earlier was that we have doubled up on the divs. Like you have two sets of divs with flex and flex call. You have the one that's inside the text input, and then the one outside the text input.
Oh, now I know what. Yeah, you're right. So that simplifies this that much more then too. We could just
Yeah,
put them right next to each other.
that's beautiful.
And there, boom. Getting a lot of space between these.
Yeah, why is that? Why did that? Well, I guess because we haven't set any margins, have we?
I'm gonna try this real quick. So we did this last time. You did the clear the form fields on submit thing. So I'm
Mm.
gonna delete that one. And okay, I was wondering if it was just stretching for some reason, but no, there's.
Hmm.
It is interesting that there's all that
Oh, is it?
extra space.
What's orange? Is orange margin?
Orange is margin, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and there was margin there above the button, right? But it doesn't seem like
Yes.
there's. Let's check our markup here real quick. So we've got call flex call border input. Yeah, I mean, let's see, flex call space y10 maybe.
Oh, that might be.
just too much now. There.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yep. Maybe that text area might just have like a little bit more natural margin around it or something.
Can you adjust this text area, or does it not adjust since we set a specific? Oh, does it only go up and down?
At the moment, yes.
Okay.
It's constrained by the width of the area of the like the parent div. That's cool though. Now our description looks a little bit better. Our description is the text area. I mean, that's really so we went in there to like go and style these, but what we actually ended up doing was creating just a new component to get our text input and then our text area. But that is something that I've been thinking about for a while, so I think that is worthwhile. Yeah, I mean we're at an hour right there,
Lovely.
so we'll have to do more styling. So we'll do style form inputs. Them all look pretty, and I don't know, make that a medium.
Yeah.
Need to be able to like we need to do like
Oh yeah.
sorting and filtering logic on these to like make sort them by priority by default, and then we can maybe filter them by like other like search types or filtering out all the
This is this is probably like way far ahead, but I keep like imagining when I see these that you'd be able to like use the hand and grab them and like readjust them
oh, click and
manually.
drag.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while since I implemented click and drag. That'd be fun. That's a process. That's like a multi-step thing. It's not
Yeah,
impossible, but
I've never implemented it myself, but I've worked on a code base where that was implemented, and it did look non-trivial for sure to set
yeah,
that up.
it's just a lot of events because you have to set up like it has to listen for click hold, it has to listen for drag,
Mm-hmm.
and then there has to be like you determine a drop area, like where it can drop, and then it determines when you bring one into like when does something come into that area, and then if you're in that area and you let go of the mouse button, then it will drop it there. Otherwise, it'll put it back where it was before. Like all of those contingencies, right? It's a fairly complicated little like interaction, a click and drag. It's not simple. Um, but yeah, that's cool, fun,
Great start. I
fun
love
times.
building custom components like that. I
Yeah,
feel like that's this is the way when it comes to front end development. You know, you don't
yeah,
want to have to repeat your code too much, and when you start seeing these things repeat, pull it out.
yep, yep. I love the idea of someday being able like getting a job as a like a UI library like maintainer or something like that or creator.
Mm,
Like your job is to build UI components, right? Like that I've seen, UI developer is a job title.
definitely.
And I think that'd be really fun. You have to get really good at accessibility, probably style all of your styling stuff, and all your like React component knowledge and stuff, like what we just did here. But I think that'd be building components is really fun. It's very fun.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like that's the idea too that really they had when they developed React. It's like why have to continually rebuild all these things?
Exactly.
Sure, we can just copy paste, but this is so much easier to read and even conceptualize. Maybe.
And I think before React, and I could be completely getting my history wrong here, but I know that there's also is it web components? Is that the term? Um,
Oh,
there is a there was something pre-React that was components, but the library, I bought a course on it and I never worked through it. It was Stencil.js,
okay.
and I think that's the library that you use to make web components. Um, but then like I kind of bought that early on, being like, oh, that like I saw a demo of it. It's like, oh, well, that seems really practical. Components, of course, that sounds great. And then I started learning React, and then I've never seen any requirement anywhere for like web components or stencil specifically, because
Mm,
I think my guess would be that React just completely replaced it.
probably.
Yeah, Stencil is a web component compiler. It generates web components that you use, and then it uses TypeScript, JSX, and CSS to create standards compliant web components. Although I think web components is a slightly different thing
Oh, it is. I'm looking
because
at it on
because
MDN right now.
yeah, now I'm thinking about, was it Shoelace?
I'm seeing the template and slot elements as like the foundational web component elements that essentially allows you to build, whatever your template is with slots in it so that you can fill in extra things inside of these reusable components, which is interesting. I'd only ever seen those in practice when I was working in a Vue code base.
Yeah, slots. Yep.
We use that extensively, both
Yep.
template and slots.
I love Vue. I miss Vue a lot. I haven't worked in Vue for quite a while, and every
Me
once
too.
in a while I see a Vue job pop up, and I would love to work in Vue. Um,
Put
I
me
like
back in, coach. Me too.
it. But I also just really quickly here because it's on my screen. This was something I was hip to a while ago. Shoelace is a library of web components, right? And at one point I
Oh,
kind of looked into what web components are, but I think I think it's supposed to run more lightweight, and it's more based on, if I could be completely making this up, but I thought it was maybe based more on like native HTML components as opposed to bringing in all the JS that's required to make like React a thing. Um, and they build things faster, um, fully customizable. Yeah, I'd have to read again like why this is, but it sounded really cool to me when I first found it, but I have not found a way to like incorporate it anywhere yet, because you just go to React, right?
yeah, right,
And
exactly. At
I
this
might
point,
just be thinking about Shoelace incorrectly as to like what purpose it actually serves, but it's specifically web components. So interesting stuff.
so
There's
we've begun
so
the
much
the
tech.
upskill and chill UI library.
Yeah, exactly.
US UI. Oh no, UC like UI.
You see, you get. Um, Okay, cool. Well, we'll wrap it up here then. Any final thoughts, Courtney? I thought that was cool. That was a good time. It's always nice to be back in the project.
Um, yeah, yeah. No final thoughts. I guess. Well, no. One, which is that, like usual, we intended to do one thing, which was style these components, and it really led to doing a different thing, so
Yep.
that we could set up the situation where we style these.
Yeah.
Always happens.
I mean, we were on that road. We had to lay the groundwork first, and then we only have an
Yeah,
hour.
that's right.
When you have 1 hour every week to build an application, it moves slowly,
Yeah, very slight. Yeah, exactly.
but it's fun.
Though we've actually made good progress, I have to say. I
I
mean,
think so.
it's
Especially,
online and we have our database set up and everything, so we can actually save these things. They persist. I mean, I like it.
and we've learned a lot of stuff on the way, which is the whole point in the first place. It's not about speed, right? And
Mm.
just digging into all that like form typing when we did the initial form controls, learning about the backend server components and the API endpoints, and making those calls and setting it up with the database and all that. Like it's it's been a lot of fun. So I look forward
It's
to next week.
yeah. I will be out of town next week,
That's
so
right.
it'll be you holding it down,
Okay, I'll find something to
but
do.
I'll be here the following week after that.
Sounds good. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and I will see you next week.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
See ya. Let's see. I was about to hit the wrong end, but I was going to end our call.
Goodbye.
See ya. I'm out. Um, oh, it looks like there are 4 people watching, so I think I'm watching the stream, so I count as one. I think. I don't know who else is watching, but that's cool. Got a couple viewers.
I'm definitely one as well,
Okay, so we
but
have
still, two is
may,
good.
maybe Matt and maybe somebody else. Um, okay, cool. So, oh, I think we have a lost episode for our YouTube channel. I could not download that episode
Oh,
off the link, and then I went on to, and the reason probably is because I went on to Huddle, and I was gonna see if they had it in the like catalog there, which they have all
yeah.
the other ones cataloged, but not that one.
What? Oh,
Yeah.
it's the last one you and I did then.
Yes, last week's
Huh.
episode. It's on LinkedIn, and I checked. You cannot download from LinkedIn. That used to be a thing, I guess, but it is no longer a
Oh.
thing.
And you didn't get the email.
I got the email, and you click it, it goes to the page, it spins for a second, and then just stops. It doesn't load the
Oh, let
video. Don't have the option to
yeah,
download.
let me try that. So I've had to it doesn't work on Firefox. Like when I bring the videos up to download, it just brings the video, but there's actually no three dots that allow me to click and download. So I've had to do it from excuse me, from Chrome, but of course I didn't
Oh,
have access to uh our Gmail on Chrome. Let's see here. So I'm going to use the
okay.
password
Let
you sent
me.
me.
I'll go and check that out too.
Uh,
I did because I've been using the same browser every time, and it's worked in the past. But I didn't
Also,
think to maybe
have
try a different
you
browser.
have you had issues with links from LinkedIn recently? For some reason, all of a sudden I can't. Like when I click on a link, it doesn't let me. It just takes me to this like blank LinkedIn page,
Hmm.
um,
I have not
and it
had that trouble.
never loads. Maybe that's a browser thing too. Okay, good, done. Yes,
I'm
got it.
gonna try this again here in a different browser. Nope, it does the same thing. It gives me the loading spinner one time around and stops, and then just nothing happens.
This is from what date is this?
July 19th.
I see, July 19th.
And I'm gonna say that probably the reason that the link isn't working. I mean,
Wait, did you get it to your email or to Upskill and
yeah,
Chill? I
I
don't
got
see it
it
here.
got to my email.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay, okay. Can
And
you
then
forward that to Upskill and
here
Chill?
I'll just send it to you through chat right now,
Oh, good.
the download link. But I think what's going on because I like again I looked inside of Huddle, and I'm gonna turn us off live here because we don't need